Hey everybody, this is Troy Alexander, Inspiration with Troy Alexander. We're back one more time. Listen, I am excited. We have an amazing guest that we're going to just share with you and share with the world, that I'm so honored to have her as a guest on our show. But listen, this is every week, as often as we're able to have a guest to uplift and inspire and encouraging you to hold on to your dream. Our motto is dream. Take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. Listen, stay connected with us. We're here on Facebook, Troy Alexander. We're on YouTube, Inspiration with Troy Alexander. Listen, follow our nonprofit, call to inspire.org. Call to inspire.org. Listen, we encourage you, no matter how high the mountain is, no matter how wide the river, the valley might be. Listen, you are destined for this time. Listen, you are here for a purpose. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing so great that you can't get there. Because if it's your dream and your destiny, it's already in place. It just takes you to make up in your mind, listen, I'm going to get that goal. And we encourage you to go get your dream every week. So listen, y'all, we have a phenomenal guest tonight that I'm so honored to have. Again, it's been a minute, and I reached out and made the connection, and I'm so happy that she was able to adjust her amazing schedule to be with us tonight on this special day and special time. But listen, she began her dance journey at the age of 3, graduated summa cum laude from Alonzo King Lines Ballet BFA program at Dominican University of California. Listen, with a psychology minor, honors program certificate, also having departmental honors. Listen, also, she made her first appearance as a professional dancer at the Bayview Opera House in San Francisco, June 16th. Now listen, June 16th this year, after performing her college senior showcase on May 17th this year. Let's welcome Brooke Terry. How are you, Brooke?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Troy.
Oh, it's such an honor, and I'm so proud of you. So proud
Thank you.
of who you are and all that you've done and what you're doing. And I know this is only the beginning. So I'm so excited to share with you. So I got to ask you, what is it about dance that you love so much?
Dance is just incredible. It's pretty amazing to have started at such a young age and to still enjoy it the way that I do. And I think that goes to show like the importance of dance in my life through every single stage of my life. But it's just so incredible to be able to move and to enjoy like other people moving with you. I think that's partially what has drawn me to keep going with it. So, yeah.
Listen, what is it that, because I always want to know, what is it like to be on that stage, like in front of a crowd? What does it feel like when you dance?
Performing has always been something that, interestingly enough, has like really excited me. I'm a pretty quiet, like more introverted person naturally. So a lot of times when I tell people that after they've seen me perform, they're really surprised by that because that's not how I present myself on stage at all. But performing is just an uplifting experience. It's nice to be able to share what I've been working on or what I'm enjoying at the current moment with an audience who is expecting to see that, or maybe unexpected to what they're about to see as well. But I've always loved being on stage and I've always loved performing in my dance life. My personal life, not as much. I'm a very like more reserved, more quiet person.
Really?
Yeah. So it comes as a surprise often. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then my question to you is, what where does dance take you? Because if you're quiet, like and reserved in your personal, but so, what happens? What happens when you take, like when you go onto that stage? Like, do you go into like a different persona?
I don't necessarily have a stage persona or like a stage name, but I feel like a completely different being when I'm performing.
Wow.
Um, I remember being pretty young, probably around maybe 14 or 15, that's funny. I'm not that much older than that right now, but it feels like a long time ago when one of my dance teachers let me know that one of the most important things when you're performing is to not be thinking about anything, not feeling like you have to be overthinking every moment or movement, things like that. So now, whenever I get off stage, I often realize if it was a good performance in my mind, I often realize that I do not remember anything. I just kind of like get there and I'm on stage and in the moment. And then afterwards, I'm like, okay, that must have been pretty great because I don't remember messing up or I don't remember falling or things like that.
Wow.
So it's pretty incredible.
That sounds incredible. I mean, it really does. I mean, to go to a place. And so let me ask you this, because I wanted to ask you, like, when you're getting ready to perform a piece, as you're practicing, as you're rehearsing, do you go to that place in rehearsal as well, or does the live performance kind of is different than the rehearsals?
It definitely is different. There are moments where in rehearsal I realize like, okay, that was it. Like that's what I want to achieve when I'm on stage. Usually in rehearsal, there's like a specificity, whether that be from the choreographer, the director, or like my colleagues as well. We just have certain goals that we want to achieve in rehearsal and make sure that we're ready to perform. But there's something about performing and being in front of an audience
Mm.
that just kind of takes you into a different space, and it's also the idea that once you perform, a lot of times that's the end of the life of that piece unless you're doing something that's recurring. So it's kind of the idea that you're leaving everything on the stage or everything on the floor, as they often say in the dance world. But yeah, it's great. In rehearsal and everything like that, we're definitely preparing to know everything as well as we possibly can so that we can get to that place of not having to think. So
Wow, listen, that's a beautiful place, I'm sure, to be. I mean, it has to be just a wonderful place to be where like you're there in the moment. So I got to ask you, when did this become a love for you? Because I have to believe that. Like you must love, because but your bio said you began dancing at the age of 3. When did you know this was something that you wanted to not just do but be?
I I grew up dancing from the age of 3. I started to kind of perform solos and group dances in the competition world of dance. So I started off in competitive dance, and then there was a moment when I was about 10 where I realized that I did want to continue to do that. And in order to continue to perform, I needed to kind of refine my technique. So I made the transition into studying ballet more seriously. And then it wasn't until I was about 12 or 13 when I realized that this is absolutely what I wanted to do because I was spending every hour that I wasn't in school or sleeping or eating or doing homework in the dance studio. So there was definitely that moment where I realized I wanted to be more serious, and I've always been very disciplined and always been very serious about dance and about just life, whether that be academic or dance. But I did have a moment where I realized that if I did want to become a professional dancer, which was my goal, I did have to become more serious about it.
Wow, that's amazing. And again, you're gonna probably hear me say it, but you're so awesome and amazing. And I love to hear the process of how you've gotten to that, to be able to visualize this is what I want. So let me ask you this. The moment that you decided that I want to take this like to a professional level or to go into that world, um, did anything change in terms of how you approached dance?
A little bit. It's kind of an interesting thing because I feel like the way that I approach dance is kind of ever evolving. There's not really been one clear codified way that I feel like I have to present myself in the studio. It just kind of it keeps changing and growing. I feel like something that did definitely change was that I decided that since I was being serious about it, that I would do everything possible in my power to be serious about dance, which meant that I took everything more seriously. And that's one thing that I kind of not necessarily wish I could change about my dance training, but definitely I just sometimes look back and wish that I hadn't been so hard on myself. It definitely helped that I was being a perfectionist and wanting everything to kind of grow as much as it could, as fast as it could. But I definitely had that switch in mindset where it was like, I want to be the best that I possibly can. And I definitely didn't have to start thinking that way as early as I did to get to where I am today, but I'm glad that I did. So it's kind of
Look,
twofold.
right.
Yeah.
Look where it has gotten you to. Look where it has pushed you to. And so let me just continue with that. So are you still hard on yourself now? Are you a
Oh,
perfectionist?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So then my question then becomes, with that, like I've talked to people that are just so like they want to be so perfect, right? Understanding that sometimes life isn't perfect, right? Not everything works. How how do you approach those moments when you feel not it was, right? Because everyone thought it was phenomenal. You did, but those moments that you feel you weren't so perfect, how do you respond to that?
Now I definitely have a different approach to that as I've grown up, especially the dance program that I was able to experience, for my undergraduate college experience. We talk a lot about the imperfections and we talk about finding the joy in the work and not just from the product of the work. So I definitely have grown to find the joy in the imperfections, which has been just absolutely, I'm so thankful for that because especially in the dance world, there is no perfect. There's no idea of perfect other than what is like put onto us. And so that's something that we talk about a lot is just being okay with that, being okay with messing up and really just finding out how to recover from it. And I think that as a professional dancer, that is one thing that I've realized is the goal is to mess up because it becomes a greater product. And it definitely, not everyone may agree with the fact that messing up is a great thing, but it brings so much joy if you look at it differently. So I've tried to change my perspective on that, and it definitely has helped the process along the way.
I love that, Brooke. Wow. That what you just said has and shared is going to help so many people that are watching this live or that will watch it down the road. I mean, that is powerful, right? To know like there's no perfect, like it's just, give all of you in that moment. And whatever that is, that's what is, right? But you always continue to evolve and grow from. I love that you talk about it. Like that's powerful. Like that's, that it's okay to mess up. It's okay that, well, but knowing that it's part of the process, right?
Right.
So I love that. Wow, wow. So let me ask you now about your preparation. Now that I know that because I am the same way. Like I want to be, I want to give my best all the time that I need to give my
Mhm.
best in the moment. So how is your preparation for a performance, both physically, like how often are you rehearsing? Is it like every day? Is it every other day, 3 days a week, 8 hours a day, 2 hours? What's your preparation like?
I will say that it depends on what we're working on. So for example, right now I have a show. I have a show at the end of this month, but I also have a show next weekend for something else. Um, and we're going about the rehearsal process a lot different for each of those because the performance at the end of this month is a new work. Um, but at the same time, we've had 3 rehearsals and we're finished. So we will continue to rehearse for a couple of hours, until then. Then on the other hand, the performance that I have next weekend is something that I've performed already, which is an excerpt from what was performed at Bayview Opera House. So that performance, we prepared for that every single day of the work week. So Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we had weekends off usually. Um, and and that was just so fulfilling because I graduated. Um, we had been prepping for our final performance for school, and I was rehearsing for my professional dance work during that, and then I continued to do that right after, literally the day after I performed, I went to rehearsal and just kept on going after that. So it really depends on the project, especially there's another project I'm working on, and we're working on films as well as live performance. And so that rehearsal process has been widely different from anything else I'm working on right now. And that's been kind of like a fun, interesting like transition into the professional dance world because it's not what I was expecting to kind of like fall into my lap when it did. So it's just, it really depends. That's more of the physical side of preparation. As far as mental preparation goes, especially before a show, I remember, I don't know, I was probably also about 14. The same teachers that had told me before that a good performance often means that you don't remember it, had told me to get there, you have to absolutely zone in before you get on stage rather than talking and laughing and joking around, which happens. Of course, everyone has their different, each person has their own individual way of prepping for a show. But for me, I have to sit by myself for a moment, put my AirPods in or my earbuds in and just listen to music, stretch, breathe, and get myself in that space to where I know that I'm prepared. And that is something that I really value is that time right before a show where I can feel myself getting ready. Usually I'm already in costume or already have hair and makeup done like well before that so that I can have time for that. But that is something that mentally I kind of, and it's become a pre-show ritual for me, just to like get in that space and to feel comfortable. So yeah.
Well, listen, I listen. This is for me like a master class. Just listening to you, like just talk about your process. It's so amazing and so inspiring. And so, listen, I want to take you back. I want the audience to just really hear what you said. You said that while you were preparing for your senior showcase, like your final performance in college, you were also practicing a piece on the professional side. So once you graduate, you're going to go and perform professionally right after. Listen, I I was amazed that like it wasn't even like months or really that many weeks. I mean, it was really like you were practicing while you were in college for your professional debut or your professional opportunity. Like that's
Mhm.
amazing. What did that even feel like?
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I keep telling my mom that I still have yet to really realize that I have graduated because I kind of have had this like through line, and I'm so thankful for that because that's definitely not always the case. And I was prepared to have that not be the case. But thankfully, I was working on that performance while also working on another project professionally and another project professionally. So I was actually doing three things at once while finishing my undergraduate college experience and degree and also preparing for that show as well. So I was kind of spread thin, but in a way that was kind of showing me, and I journal as well. And that's something that keeps me like going often. But I was journaling about how doing all of those things, doing three professional projects, one of which I wasn't getting paid for, which is exactly that's why I do this. I don't do I don't aspire to be a professional dancer in order to get paid. I just would like to dance as much as possible. So I was doing all these things while finishing my degree and realizing that that is exactly what I want to do is dance as much as possible. And so it felt great and I was definitely exhausted. I was absolutely like washed, so tired by the end of school, and then I actually got a cold right as I finished school because I was just, like, going, 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 and I, like, hadn't given myself time to, like, rest, and then, of course, I was still going, I still had rehearsals and everything, I, like, tested myself for COVID, didn't have COVID, and I was like, "Okay, let's go, we're still going," and it wasn't until I realized, like, "Okay, my body is tired, but at the same time, it's recovered. I was no longer sick and I was ready to perform and ready to keep going. And so I realized that this is what I've been training for my entire life is to be able to do exactly that and to hopefully continue doing that for the rest of my life. So it felt great. I was so tired, but it felt incredible. So I'm really
I can
thankful.
imagine. Yes. I can imagine. Well, listen, again, I applaud you. I'm in awe of you. Again, I thank you for the honor because what I know is that there's more for you. Like this isn't even, I mean, we say this in the beginning, but your journey is so amazing. I don't know if you see it. Like, do you see it? Like I can see, I see so much for you and I can't wait to see more of you and to see your gift, your calling, your purpose. But it's wonderful, and I can listen. I can't wait till you come out this way, like to see you on Broadway or at the Lincoln Center or at the Radio City Music Hall, whatever. But I hope to see you out this way. I can't wait. So I'm already declaring that. Okay, Brooke. Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure I get my ticket to come and see you do that. I wanted to ask you in terms of your routines and how the movements are created. Like, have you ever created your own piece?
I have. Yes.
So tell me about the differences between creating something for yourself and performing someone else's piece in terms of how do you connect with that? Like, do you go to a place? Is there a lot of talking and consult first between the dancers and the person that created the dance? Like, is that happen? Like, how is that process different in terms of you knowing what moves feel right to you, as opposed to having to do moves that feel right to someone else?
Right. That's definitely a really interesting question because every choreographic process is a little bit different. And so that's something that I really appreciate, especially about the contemporary dance world or like contemporary ballet world. It's really up to the person who's at the front of the room, or recently I've experienced someone who prefers to be in the center of the room and surrounded by the dancers, which I really, really appreciated that approach. And I tried to implement that in my own process for my senior thesis project, which was a full length piece. So I didn't necessarily really want there to be as much of like a conversation about what I wanted versus just kind of showing the movement that was kind of just coming to my mind in the moment and then seeing if I liked it or not. And if I didn't like it, we would move on from that. But oftentimes I realize for myself, because this is definitely not the case for everyone, I really preferred to just get in the studio space with the dancers that I was working with and just start moving. So we would warm up together and I would just play music and move. And then if I liked what I did, I would hopefully remember it. And if I didn't remember it, I would hope that someone else did. But and then just gradually that turned into other movement and other inspiration and eventually a full piece. once I was able to kind of like put things together and piece the movement together. But it really depends on the person. For me, I wasn't really interested in having my dancers like create their own movement, but oftentimes I've been asked to contribute to a choreographic process as a dancer, like as a collaborator. But that wasn't something that I really wanted. I wanted my thesis project and my project to be my own, and I wanted to really be able to say, like, I created this myself. And I am so thankful that the dancers that I worked with were willing to go there with me and willing to take my lead. As I said previously, I'm like very much an introvert, and so I was kind of interested to see if being at the front of the room was not going to be something I enjoyed, but I really did. Um, and I'm really glad that I had a group of dancers that were just ready and wanted to do everything. So
I am so inspired by you. You are such an inspiration. I hope you know that you are such an inspiration to so many that you might not even know, but that are looking and seeing you from afar, and just seeing how much strength you exude, and confidence and certainty. Do you feel that way when you perform? Because I can imagine, like, do you get nervous at all, or once you're on that stage, like all that kind of goes away?
um that is something that I've always been surprised by. I actually do not get nervous before a show, and I still don't really understand why. And that's something that I've always just kind of wondered because I think I feel most comfortable with myself when I am dancing, even though at the same time I'm so hard on myself often. I do feel at peace when I'm moving and just like my true self when I'm dancing. So I think that that has a lot to do with why I don't get nervous
That's awesome.
mostly. But then at the same time, like I do definitely notice that there are moments where my adrenaline is just like, I'm just ready to go. And that is something that I feel fall once I do get on stage. I don't feel as like antsy. I kind of like sink into the performance space and hopefully, I guess, the confidence in myself that I will be able to perform well and confidently and surely. So,
Well, you are doing it, and I'm
thank
so
you.
proud of you, so extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
Again, to see your growth to from where you've come from on social media, watching your journey up until this point has been truly amazing. So, I got to ask you, where does so do you ever get tired in terms of, you know, well, let me ask you this question. Have you ever asked yourself, is this what I should be doing? Or at such a young age, you kind of knew it, but did you have any doubts along the journey at all to say, can I really do this on a professional? Because some people do it, right? Because they enjoy dance, but don't think about it on a professional scale. Did you ever have any doubts along your journey?
Definitely. That's something that I have always been kind of like not afraid to talk about, but mostly just kind of like interested to hear what people will respond when I say that that was the case for me, especially since I've been dancing for such a long time at this point. Um, but I do have like very clear memories of moments where I either like lacked inspiration or I was just almost to the point of like burning out just because I've danced almost every single day since I was a child. And so there was a moment after my junior year of high school because I actually took a semester online academically from my high school and just danced full time. Thankfully, there was a ballet company that I was able to do that with. Um, because I wanted to make sure that by my senior year, I was really ready. And after that, I went through this phase of just doubting myself and feeling like, okay, like, did I even do that for a reason? Or why did I truly do that? Or do I even want to keep doing this just because it felt like I had made that choice and it wasn't paying off, is truly what it felt like. But at the same time, I realized that if it wasn't for a lot of the teachers I had at that moment, my senior year, saying, "What are you doing? Like, why are you moping around? Like, what's going on?" And even though I wasn't describing to them what was going on, just having those people in my life, my family, my friends, just making sure that I still enjoyed what I was doing, even though in the moment I was questioning it, was really meaningful to me. Um, and my mom has always said, if it's not fun anymore, then we don't have to keep doing it for as long as I can remember. And there were definitely moments where I was questioning at that time, is this fun? And yes, it was fun, but it was getting more and more difficult, which is now what I appreciate so much about dance is the difficulty. And that is what keeps me inspired, is that there will never be a time in my life where I'm not learning something new. And that's really important to me now, but at the time it was intimidating. And I think that was largely why I was, like, questioning my capability, is because I was like, "Whoa, like, I just took this time off and I was dancing so many hours a day, but I'm still learning, I'm still growing." And at the same time as that was all happening, I was also auditioning for college programs, and that was really intimidating, and so I was getting from, like, both sides just these ideas in my head, like, "Am I good enough? Like, will I be good enough? Like, will I succeed? Will I end up in the right place?" And things like that. So and there were other times throughout my university experience too, where I was just realizing, like, "I am so tired. What am I doing? Like, what is going on?" And then I remember, actually, so Alonzo King is the namesake for our program, and he is the director of Alonzo King Line's Ballet, the company as well. And we work with him throughout our 4 years in the program, but he isn't one of our like main teachers, so we haven't gotten to know him very well. And there was one day where he was walking into his office, and I remember walking past, and I said hello to him, and he said hello and asked how I was. And I very honestly answered, "I'm tired." And his answer to that was basically along the lines of, "You will always be tired. It's a matter of finding inspiration." And I told one of my other teachers that Alonzo had said that to me, and his answer was, "He's exactly right." And so I, from that moment on, was like, I know I will always be tired. That is true. My body will always be tired. It will always be sore, probably, but it's just a matter of finding the inspiration within that. So,
Wow, Brooke. Wow. I mean, that's powerful because so many think that, we get on this path and it just goes, right? It just happens. But I love hearing your process. I love learning that you had moments, right, where you weren't so certain or weren't so sure or weren't so, because all of us have them. We may not
mhm,
admit them, but all of us have those moments, right? And so to be transparent, to be honest, right, that is a powerful place to be in. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us because so many needed to hear that tonight. So I thank you so much. Um, wow, wow. I'm trying to think where to go. That was such a moment to be where you are now. And so I, I just love your inspiration, but I love your story. I love your journey, knowing that there's more. So is it still fun now? Is it still
oh,
fun to you?
yes, absolutely. It's just there's something about dance in general, just I think especially because I've always had like a natural sense of rhythm or like a natural kind of like ache for movement and things like that, that it just kind of like molds my life together in a way, and it gives me something obviously to look forward to, but also something to really work toward. It is probably one of the most fulfilling parts of my life, but at the same time, one of the most challenging. So it's kind of one of those things that, I mean, I hope that this is true, but I feel like it will never not be fun just because there's always something to learn. And that's something that I always have enjoyed academically as well, is that I just love learning. And so it fits well in my life that dance is so fun. So I'm sure my mom will
Awesome.
be happy to hear that.
Listen, I want to just go back one moment, and I'm grateful for you had those teachers, right, that was able to be within your space. And also meeting Mr. Alonzo as well, again, in that space. How do you keep yourself now? Again, if not potentially being around teachers, I guess anymore, right? You're kind of on your own in terms of the profession. How do you support yourself mentally and in that mindset now? Because with social media, right, that's the platform that so many people use or engage with. And sometimes it cannot be so nice, right? There's things that go on, and you see things, people say things. How do you keep yourself, or if you have a moment, how do you surround yourself in terms of like with who or with what? Do you listen to certain things? Do you watch certain things? Do you talk to certain people? Again, but whether it's family or friends, how do you stay into like a good space?
Yeah, it's definitely probably unexpected. This might be an unexpected answer for many people, but as far as social media goes, I don't really partake in it much as far as my personal life goes, or as well as like digesting information from social media. I try not to be like incredibly submerged in that just because I feel like it's all of this noise always constantly, and I don't really like that, and I don't really like how it makes me feel when I'm like scrolling on my phone for hours and then I'm like, what have I done today other than scroll on my phone? So with that being said, I I'm still, because it's so new, this new life that I'm living, I'm still figuring out the balance between work and life. And that is something that I think will always be a bit of a challenge for me just because I'm not very good at resting. Like I just like to go and go and go. And so now that I have a little bit more free time in my schedule the past few weeks, I have just kind of been like, okay, so what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, what's next? What's next? And that is something that I definitely feel like needs to change, because I haven't found that balance of just allowing myself to relax. But with all of that being said, I really like journaling. That's something that has always kept me kind of centered, I feel like. And I really took the time this past year to really make sure that I have been writing down something every day. I've always done that. I've kept journals for a few years now at this point, and it worked out well because our schedule during the school year is that we are bused into San Francisco and back from our university. And so while I was taking the bus, I would journal. And so now I'm figuring out how to work that into my daily schedule without doing that. And that's kind of a bit of a challenge. But as far as that goes, I definitely try and surround myself with people that have similar values as I do, um, that appreciate life as much as I do. A lot of my friends appreciate art and dance as well, even if they're not necessarily dancers. And that isn't really something that I've tried to have happen. It just naturally has been that way. Like all of my roommates right now are dancers as well. So it just kind of like naturally happens like that. But yeah, and I've always had a really good support system. My family has supported me through absolutely everything. And I'm really thankful for that because I've learned a lot from that. And I've learned how to kind of navigate the world and the dance world because of those relationships. So, yeah, that's
Wonderful. Well, listen, again, I applaud you in your continuous evolution of you. And I'm just so proud of you and all of who you are and who you're still becoming. So I got to ask you, is there a dream in your dance path? Is there plateaus that you have set for yourself, or not quite? It just kind of sort of evolve as they go. But do you have actual goals that you want to achieve in dance?
yes, I definitely have. I've always had the goal to become a professional dancer, and that in itself is something that will always change because regardless of the status of maybe being a professional in any field, there's always room to grow and shift and what that might mean. So for me personally, the goal that I have had for a long time and that I really do have right now is to dance professionally with a company that will allow me to move in the way that I enjoy and find inspiration from, which is largely contemporary ballet. And in that, I would like to dance with a company that will allow me to travel the world. That is something that I've always wanted. Um, so that is the current goal. I wouldn't necessarily call it a plateau because I feel like even after that, I would like to keep going. And especially in the dance world, there isn't really a time where during the length of my career where I see myself settling. So that is something that I really appreciate is just having that mindset of just working towards something new, regardless of if I currently have a job or not. So
I don't know what they call the companies. Like I don't, but if it was something company, I can see the Brooke Terry company. I'm listen, I'm just saying, Brooke, as you were talking, I saw that and I heard that. So many times, right? We rely on others to be a part of what they've created and what they've, come up with. And I do understand the professional side of things and the business side of things, but I saw that. I mean, I saw your own space. But I have no doubt, though, that you're going to achieve and continue to evolve into this amazing dancer that you are in person, mostly that you are. So I wanted to ask you, um, what do you want the audience? I'm not sure if I sent this to you, but what would you like the audience to feel or to see when they see you dance?
that is a great question. I don't know if I've ever really thought about that other than that. I just really, the reason I dance is to inspire people. Um, and lately, I think that I have felt a sense of joy from dance that I didn't understand before. I think I always felt it, but within the last year, I've experienced what it actually means to feel just like pure joy. And I think that my my hope is that people feel that from my dancing and feel inspired to find something that makes them as happy as dance makes me. Um, yeah, that's a hard question though, because there are also moments where dance isn't always joyous and it isn't always created to bring that emotion out of people. Like it can be like abstract and it can be with the intention of evoking like maybe like darker emotions from people or like very, very happy emotion. So it depends on the piece that we're performing, especially. But from me, I hope that I am able to bring that joy that I feel to the audience as well.
Wow. So I want to just continue that, Brooke, because I'm always interested in talking to actors, right? About the ability to go into character and how sometimes they may have to go into a space that maybe they are either accustomed to or didn't have that level of experience or past, but they're going, and you mentioned, right, a dark place sometimes, right? Um, have you ever had difficulty trying to sort of get into that space mentally to be able to perform in the way that you feel at your best, or have you found the ability to kind of navigate that, or has it ever been a challenge, I should say, getting to a space that a person was wanted the dancers to get into that space in the expression, but the emotion is very dark?
I definitely I think that the hardest thing for me when I'm performing, and as far as like emoting, which isn't necessarily something that people ask for. A lot of times in the contemporary dance world, there's like this sort of like kind of like stoic look or like feeling that might be taking place as well. But I think that the most difficult thing for me is having a piece set where there is no context. Like sometimes choreographers will leave out any context and just see how it evolves. And I've definitely had moments where my colleagues and I will be like, what does this mean for us? And have to come up with something so that we know kind of that we're on the same page at least, which I think is intentional on a lot of choreographers' kind of agenda is that they don't want to kind of put on something and they don't want us to have to feel like we're putting something on. But I think that is the hardest for me is not having context because that goes back to being a perfectionist is like if I don't know what I am supposed to be doing, it adds a level of challenge, which I've come to enjoy because then I can choose sometimes what I find the piece may mean or what I find it means to me at least. But that definitely is difficult. I think that would probably be the most difficult.
I, you know, I'm not sure if you know what you just said, Brooke. What you just said was, even in those moments where there is uncertainty or lack of clarity in terms of a forethought about content or the intent of something, as opposed to looking at it from the point of, oh my goodness, what do we do? You look at it as now I have a choice to do what I feel. That's powerful, Brooke. That is like that's wonderful so people don't feel like I'm lost. No, you're not lost. You have a choice now,
Mhm.
right? So it's powerful to say like, yeah, it's open space. It's yours. Here it is, but not knowing what it is, but here it is. Now you have, as opposed to I don't know where to go. Now I can choose what I want to do. So that's powerful. Thank you, Brooke. That was
Yeah.
wow.
That's definitely something I have picked up along the way, especially within the past 4 years, because in the dance program that I was able to graduate from, choice is a really big thing that we learn is that if you're given time and space, you're given maybe a few steps, but not being told what to do with them, make that decision and make that choice for yourself of what you want it to look like or what you want it to feel like. And that's definitely something that isn't always the case in the dance world. It often is you're doing this, this, and that to get to point X, Y, and Z. And that's not necessarily what makes me the happiest in dance is like it's funny because I say that not knowing what I'm doing makes me maybe like a little bit nervous or stressed out, but I really, really enjoy not knowing because now I feel like I can fill that space with choice, as you were saying. So,
Listen, I'm so honored. I mean, I'm hearing you and I'm in awe, right? One, that you agreed to be on our platform, but just to hear you speak about, both kind of having both feelings, like maybe a little nervous, like a little bit cautious, but still knowing there's a freedom of choice. And that is powerful. So thank you. Oh my goodness, Brooke. So I want to ask you, I was reading your bio and I was reading how you graduated again, summa cum laude, again from Alonzo King's Line Ballet BFA program at Dominican University of California. Tell me, was this an aspiration of yours? Like, did you aspire, or do you feel that it just kind of like it evolved to this space?
I always knew that I wanted to go to college and I wanted to earn a degree. I'm a first generation college student, and so that was something that was really, really important for me to do. And I'm so grateful to have been able to do that with so much support and people taking care of me along the way and making sure I was doing okay. But I didn't realize until I was accepted into Dominican University of California, and then auditioned for the Alonzo King Line's Ballet BFA program through the university. I actually had made a vision board, and my mom loves to remind me of this all the time, and I'm so glad that she does because I'm also glad that she kept it. And I don't even remember putting it on there, but it was on there, Dominican University of California. And as I was looking for schools and as I was looking for where I wanted to audition for, I don't even have any recollection of doing that. And I must have at some point cut it out of a magazine or something and like glued it onto this vision board that I had. And that is where I ended up and where I graduated from. And I am so glad that I did because I think that the knowledge and the network of people and the connections that I've made through attending this university have been unparalleled to what I would have experienced really any other place that I was looking at. And the program is really small. My graduating class from the dance program was six. So there were six of us. Yeah. So it was a really like personalized and personal experience, which I really am grateful for because it was great. So it was a goal, but a goal that I didn't realize that I had until I had accomplished that goal. But one goal that I always have had is attending a 4-year university and earning a degree. And I didn't know necessarily that that goal would be to earn a BFA, but I always knew that I wanted to dance and that I wanted to go to college. And I hoped that I would be able to go to college for dance. And I'm glad that I was able to do that.
Well, listen, I'm going to applaud you, and I'm going to continue to uplift you, and just because that is amazing. And so, listen, all I'm saying now, Brooke, you better have another vision board like now, and put stuff on put stuff on it now.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's awesome, and I'm just again so proud of you, so proud, more so of who you are and how you are able to maintain who you are. And from what I can see, of course, you can express, if I'm saying something not in accordance with where you are, but more so of keeping who you are, not losing you in the process. And I've seen so many people aspire to dreams, but they kind of lose themselves along the journey, and it's not a good place. But I'm so proud of you, and from what I can see, you still know who you are, and you still, and of course, still growing. And so thank you for that. Thank you for just continuing to be in a place and knowing what is needed, right, to continue to stay in that space. So thank you for that. And I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
share any comments on that, but
Yeah, thank you, because I definitely I've noticed within the past, like, post going home for COVID, I remember coming back out here and realizing, like, okay, school's online, like, we're dancing in our living room. What do we do? Who am I? Like, I am a dancer. I need to be dancing. And that was not something I was really getting much of over, like, in the heat of the pandemic, because everything was shifting to being online. So I was like, what do I do? While I was home, I made an outdoor dance space on my balcony so that I could dance. And that outdoor dance space was a cardboard box and a yoga mat and the balcony. And I realized as I was starting to do all of that, and then when I came back out to California and was dancing in our living room holding on to, like, a bookshelf, I was like, what more could I ask for other than the time to, like, really work on myself? And I think that that moment, and a lot of our professors were asking us to really dig deep and think about who we are and who we aspire to be during that time, because everyone was so lost, and a lot of people still are, because it just has been an awful time. And I think that I grew the most during that time that I have throughout these 4 years of my college experience, because I was given the time to really focus on myself. There weren't any mirrors. I wasn't looking at how perfect I looked or what I looked like and things like that. It was just very clearly focusing on what I'm feeling and what I'm doing and being in a routine and things like that. And so I feel like there was a moment where I started to really grow into myself and realize that who I am and who I've always been is this. And I didn't feel like I had to put anything on for anyone or, like, appear in any way anymore. Like, I just kind of felt like I could be myself. And so I really appreciate you saying that you feel like I am still myself and I have grown into myself, because I really have within the past, I guess, 2.5 years come into who I am as an adult. And that has been really important to me. So,
wonderful, 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 Brooke. I gotta ask you, if a little child came up or anyone came up and said, "How do I become an amazing dancer like Brooke Terry?" What would you say if someone like, how do I do what you have done and what you continue to do? How do I do that?
I think I would let them know that it is going to be probably the most fulfilling thing that you will ever experience. It will take a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of stress, a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of tears, some, I don't know, some injuries, like, things like that. It will be difficult, but it will also just be so fulfilling. And in order to get to that point, I think I would just tell them to make sure that they are treating themselves with kindness, and to make sure that they're surrounding themselves with people who are also treating them with kindness and who value them as an individual, but also value the goals and the values that they have for themselves. Because there's nothing better than having someone kind of reaffirm your goal or reaffirm your dream. And I've been very thankful to have a mother who does that for me and who has always supported me and been there in all those times to make sure that even though it's clear that I'm at a low point in my self-doubt process, is like, okay, let's reassess and make sure that this is still fun. But yeah, I think surrounding themselves with people who are like that and seeking out any sort of help that they may need along the way, definitely.
Well, thank you. I don't know if you're going to write a book now, Brooke, or if you're going to somehow take your journaling and you're talking about doing things on film now. So I don't know if you're going to take the concepts of your journaling and present that in dance form in a film. And like I can see it, like I can see you dancing to a piece of your journal as part of your journey. And I can hear the voice, whether it's your voice, probably your voice, um, being overlaid with the dance. So as you're dancing, we're hearing you read your journal
Mm.
as to the expression of who you are, to let someone else know they can be that too. I don't know. I don't know. Our thoughts kind of go all over, but I hear things and I see things, and like
Yeah.
that would be amazing. So
Yeah, that sounds great. I've never thought about that before. I've worked with people that have used journal entries or poems that they've written or 3 words that they wrote over and over again because it was an important idea that they had. And it definitely I could see that for myself as well. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
listen, when I see things, Brooke, or I feel things like, and I feel the timing is right, I share them because I see it as you're talking. I see things in you, and I see things that are coming to you that are forth that doors that you haven't even seen. I know they're going to be going to open for you. But it's amazing. Just again, so proud of you.
Thank
So
you.
I want to ask you, is there more? I mean, I just have a couple of more questions I want to ask you, but is there more that you want to share with us about your journey? Again, so proud of you. I'm so happy that you still find it fun and that you feel it as a fulfilling journey for you. That is the utmost, right? To be able to still feel. And what I love about you is that you said you're still learning, right? There's more to explore, right? And I love the fact, and then I'm gonna let you, is that you said, you know what? It's not a plateau, but it's a moment of elevation. It's a moment of growth. It's a moment of progressing continually. So, but yeah, is there more that you want to share with us about your journey and how you've reached this place in your life at this time?
I would definitely say I feel like we've touched on a lot of what I find important about my journey. I think that if there would be one thing is that I know I've talked about my mom and I know I've essentially thanked her, but I would love to thank her formally because without her and without her support, I would just absolutely not be where I am right now. She raised me and my sister as a single mother and did the most incredible job of doing so, and I would not be absolutely would not be who I am today if not for her. And so I'm really excited to be able to be in a place where I feel comfortable as in physically, but also mentally, and I feel like I'm in a space dance-wise where I'm kind of working toward my professional career goals, and I'm so thankful to be able to do that as soon as I have been. But I wouldn't be able to necessarily do that without my mom's help. And I know that she might disagree with that because I will say that I have put in all the work myself, physically and emotionally, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. So, and without
Wow,
my incredible support system throughout. So.
wonderful. We're gonna give a shout out to your mom and your mom's name.
Yes, absolutely. Her name is Crystal.
Yes, Miss Crystal.
Yes.
Again, we applaud you. So proud of you. And again, um, the seed that you planted, she is blooming beautifully and amazingly. So, in your support of her, is there anyone else, Brooke, that you want to acknowledge that has been a part of your journey thus far? I know sometimes it can be tough because you don't want to leave anybody out, but is there anyone else? Again, a shout out to your amazing mom as well. Again, is there anyone else? And again, your whole, those who have been a part of it, but is there anyone specifically that you want to acknowledge?
Yeah, I mean, there is an entire village behind me, and it has always been that way, and I wouldn't be who I am without all of them. Um, yeah, I just have, like, an incredible family and an incredible set of, like, family friends who are family and friends that have become family throughout, the time. So I don't even know where to begin with that. So I will just say thank you to everyone because I know that if I start listing people off, I'm gonna forget people. So I don't wanna, like I don't wanna start putting people on the spot and then miss them. So, yeah.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
So, my final question to you is, um, if if there was someone, again, I always use the example of a little girl or a little boy that comes up and says, or who may not know how to reach their dream or to even know that they can reach their dream, what would you say to them to encourage them to hold on to their dream?
Write it down. Write it down. Like, seriously, when I say that there have been moments I've gone back and looked at journals and looked at words that I've written, whether they be positive or negative, about my goals and dreams and reaching them or not reaching them makes a complete difference. Because even if writing things down and maybe manifesting them or dreaming them into existence, um, even the bad, look being able to look back on how I got to where I got to or how I'm getting to where I'm going has been the best gift. And so I will say write it down, just always. But if this is someone who is young enough to where they might not understand what that means, I would say that just as long as you're enjoying yourself, it's worth it because it really is. So,
Amazing, amazing. Brooke. Thank you so much for giving of your time. Again, it's priceless. You are, there is something truly special about you, and that's why I was so honored that you accepted the invitation. And I thank you so much for giving of your time. Is there more that you want to share? I know I normally ask about if folks want to follow you or to connect with you. So I don't know because I know you're not that much on social media, some things, but do you want to share any platforms at all?
yeah, sure. I rarely use Facebook, but I am on Facebook. You can find my Facebook, which is Brooke Terry, Brooke with an E and Terry with a Y. As well as Instagram, you can find me at b.terry. And other than that, I will keep you updated with where else to find me in the future, and we can share that. But those are two of the main pages. I'm really never on Facebook though, so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm so thankful for having this opportunity to sit and chat with you. And those were all just such great questions and got me thinking about where I'm at and how I've gotten to this point. So I'm really appreciative of that as well.
Oh, thank you, Brooke. I'm honored. I can't wait to meet you in person one day, get your autograph, do a selfie, all those kind of things. Be
Definitely.
wonderful. But again, just to be in your presence, I'm sure is amazing. The strength, the purpose, and so many people don't know, like where their purpose, where their strength, where their focus, who they are, and where they are, and so it's wonderful. So I can only imagine what it is being in your presence and to see you perform and to see you go forth. I can't, it has to be truly wonderful. So I hope to have that experience one day
Thank you. Yeah,
in
I
my
hope so
life.
as well.
Yes, thank you. So any last words you want to share with us before we go?
I don't think so. I'm super excited that we got to do this and we're able to find time. I know it's not the usual time, but that's awesome. I'm glad that hopefully this all went well, and I look forward to the next time.
It went fantastic. So I thank you, Brooke, so much for your time again. Thank you for the honor. I'm so proud of you. whatever I can do to support you in your journey, please don't hesitate to reach out to me to ask, because I am definitely a fan of yours, a supporter of you, a cheer of yours. And so I'm in your corner. So whatever I can do to support you, don't hesitate to message me or reach out to me. And I will do my very best to be a part of this wonderful journey that you're on to support you most often and as often as I can, because you are truly amazing. So thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you, Troy.
Everybody, absolutely. Everybody get inspiration with Troy Alexander. As often as we can, we try every week to come on with amazing guests to inspire you, to uplift you, to go get that dream. And our motto is dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. Thank you so much for your love and support. Go out there and get your dream. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Brooke. It's been an honor. Have a great night.